guys, my name is Mike Munzing with Munzing Mortgage Group. I'm down here in San Clemente, California. Every week I put these videos together for you to tell you what's going on in our real estate industry, both locally, statewide, nationally. Yeah, normally I cover the rates. The rates are doing great, very low for your buyers, looking good. But this week, I was made aware of a very important issue for California real estate as a whole. My life has been in California real estate for the last 28 years, 21 years in lending, and I know you guys are out fighting hard. You realtors work harder than almost anybody I see out there. And if I see something that's going to endanger my industry, my livelihood, and yours, it is my job to bring that to you and clearly break it down so you know what's going on. You know how things suddenly arrive on ballots, in the news, in our lives as laws, and we do not know where they're coming from. This is a case where we are ahead of the game on this, and I want to bring it to your attention. I heard on a radio show this week about a new proposition that they're trying to get onto our ballots. Now, when I looked it up, I saw in this article, and there are many more online, relating to a new proposed ballot amendment to get it on the Constitution of California. It's called the Foreclosure Modification Act. Now this gentleman here, this is a man by the name of David A. Benson. And his phone number, mark it down. You may want to call him and let him know what you think. His number is 916-247-4743. And he's put together a ballot amendment that is now, as you can see, been approved to go out and get signatures signed by Deborah Brown. Back in July, it was passed through, and this is critical. Let's go over some of the highlights of what Mr. Benson is proposing. If you look here, the number one, the most important item on his proposition is it makes home ownership a fundamental right of all California citizens. Number two, it prohibits lenders from foreclosing on homeowners in California. Number three, it requires lenders to assist borrowers who are behind on their payments if they're having any financial hardship or an illness in the family. Number four, it requires lenders, this is critical, to reduce the principal of the loan balance if the real estate market, if the values drop more than 10%. And also tells them they have to adjust and lower the rate and thus lower the payment as well. Number five, it requires that lenders refinance without any credit verification, no financial verification, if that buyer, this is the interesting part, has maintained the loan for the past 3 years. Who knows what that means? If they're late on payments, who knows? But if they maintained it, they can refinance, and they have to do it at minimal cost in 45 days. And number six, it requires that the lenders also help with their back taxes if they've gotten late on their taxes. Now this proposal, obviously I don't believe it's going to go through. I don't think he can get the 800,000 signatures. But how often have we not paid attention to what is going on? Do you have any idea what this would do to our real estate industry? In effect, it would end our real estate industry as we know it. There would be no lenders here in California. There would be no lenders willing to go along with this. Yeah, this is a Marxist idea. This is not America. This is not the way we live. And with that, I want to bring to you back my friend Bill Whittles, a little video that he put together on natural law and how this kind of proposal affects the natural law and how things would be in America.
Probably the most definitive sentence ever written on natural law, certainly the most famous sentence, is this one. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What a sentence. You know, everything you need to know about the exceptionalism of America is right there in that one profoundly simple sentence. First, we hold these truths, not these opinions, not these agreements, not this consensus, not this vote, these truths, fundamental realities that any person in any culture can reason out for himself. To be self-evident, that means we didn't write them, we didn't create them, we don't allow them or grant them permission. They are self-evident because they were here before we were. That all men are created equal, obviously not equally rich or equally smart or equally tall or equally fast, but equal under the law, which applies to the rich and powerful as well as to the poor and friendless. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Now, for people who believe in God, this is self-explanatory, but even people who do not believe in God need to believe in this, that each human has, as his birthright, certain rights that cannot be taken away, and that these rights are bestowed upon us not by people, not by governments, but by a force far greater than people or government. You could call it history, call it human evolution, call it justice, but whatever it is beyond the reach of mortal men and women. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, notice that these rights are not commodities like widescreen TVs or even food or rent or health care, because if you had a legal right to these commodities, someone would be legally bound to provide them for you, whether they wanted to or not. And once any commodity becomes a right, then where do you stop? Once you have a right to a commodity, why don't you have a right to all commodities? Notice also how the Bill of Rights takes a natural law approach to our liberties. It doesn't grant us freedoms, it protects freedoms that are given to us at birth. If we are, in fact, born free, then the question isn't how many laws we need, but how few. What is the fewest number of laws that free people need? Well, it turns out they just need 2. I mentioned Richard Maybury earlier. Well, he wrote a remarkable book called Whatever Happened to Justice? It's all about natural law, and he boiled these 2 laws down to the most succinct form that I have ever heard. First, do all that you agreed to do. Second, do not encroach upon other persons or their property. Now, do all that you agreed to do is the basis for contract law. Do not encroach on other persons or their property is the basis for all criminal law or tort law, in other words, private lawsuits. Thomas Jefferson said that rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will, with limits drawn around us by the equal rights of others. Unobstructed action according to our will means you can do whatever you darn well want to. You are a free person, but your freedom of action ends when other people or their property are harmed by your actions. It's just that simple. That's all you really need. Now, political law is not always bad, of course, but political law that is based on natural law is almost always good, and political law that runs in the face of natural law is almost always bad. For example, contract law, do all you agree to do, has a history that goes back through human cultures for thousands of years. There have been contracts for as long as there's been language. However, during the financial panic of 2008, the government nationalized entire companies and sometimes entire industries. In doing so, they simply went in and voided the contractual obligations that those companies had with their investors. The political law violated the natural law, and there are consequences to that kind of tyranny. At this very moment, in the middle of a dead shark economy and high unemployment, it might surprise you to know that private enterprise is sitting on more cash reserves than they have had on hand at any time during the last 50 years. Corporations and small businesses are sitting on tons of cash, but they're not spending it on creating new jobs. You know why? Because they're smart, that's why. Because since this administration simply went in and voided contracts in the past, there's no reason to believe, none whatsoever, that they won't do it again in the future. Natural law, you see, is fair. It is ancient, and it is therefore predictable. Businessmen can plan on laws based on natural law. They can make calculated risks to invest more in stock, hire more employees, open another factory, and all the rest. But when these politicians simply decide to vote away contracts because they have the power to do so, when they employ corrupt political law, then businesses have no choice but to sit and wait and save and prepare for the worst. Folks, this recession is not the result of a bad economy. It's the result of bad law. And the bad laws keep on coming.
I hope that was a informative view from Bill. You can see his entire video there on YouTube under Bill Whittle, What We Believe. And I believe that's part 4, but he has a great series on YouTube. These are important issues. We need to watch what's going on in California if we're ever hoping to recover and get kind of a normalized market. These foreclosures are important. I've said it before. It is part of the process. Folks who can no longer afford to pay for their mortgage, we need to get them out, let them rebuild, but bring in our buyers and folks who can make the payments, who can afford to live in the home, and that will adjust the market price. But this is important to normalize the market. When you don't have law and you don't have a rule of law, nothing can stabilize, as Bill mentioned. Hey, I didn't mean to be so hardcore this week. When I saw this, that is our industry. This is what we do for a living. It's what I've done decades for a living. I'm here for you. I'm here to work with your buyers, and I'm here to help them get loans in an industry and have a good, viable market to purchase in. Well, hey, I'll be working this weekend. Call me at 949-689-5626. Pass this video along to your buyers, to your friends, to your fellow cohorts in the industry. They have to know to watch out for this. If you see people in front of a grocery store trying to get this amendment signed to get it on the ballot, they have to absolutely say no. Once again, it is the Foreclosure Modification Act. Spread the word, get it out there. I will have the entire 6 or 7 page PDF on this email that I send to you. I will also have it linked down below this video in YouTube, so you can make sure you forward that as well. Read through it. You can see it's the formal document from the state of California. It's important to crush this thing and keep it off the ballot. All right, hey, have a great weekend. I so appreciate you guys, and I didn't mean to be heavy, but sometimes we have to really be aware of what's going on. All right, have a great weekend. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless this country. Let's work hard. Call me anytime. Bye-bye.
Money, 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 money.